It was 2:47 a.m. when three armed men walked into the QuikStop on Highway 9, thinking they'd found an easy target, just one tired cashier working the graveyard shift. What they didn't know was that the man behind the counter had earned his calm through 156 combat operations across Afghanistan and Iraq, where staying alive meant reading threats faster than they could develop. In the next 90 seconds, those would-be robbers would discover why some Army Rangers never really retire. They just find new people to protect. Every story you're about to hear was earned, not given. This is how Marcus Rivera's story begins. A man who had been working the night shift at the QuikStop on Highway 9 for 8 years, quietly ensuring customers could shop safely. But Marcus's real expertise had been earned differently. Through 156 successful operations, where making the right decisions meant the difference between his team coming home or becoming statistics. Welcome to Earned Stories. Before we share this powerful story, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from today? And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. Because every story we tell here was earned through sacrifice, dedication, and the understanding that true service never really ends. The QuikStop on Highway 9 was one of the few places in rural Tennessee that stayed open 24 hours. Marcus Rivera had been working the 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift alone for 8 years, handling it flawlessly. Customers trusted him, always calm, always professional, never causing problems. Marcus had earned his reliability by showing up every night for 8 years, arriving on time and doing his job perfectly. No appointments needed, no fancy services, just a safe place where people could find what they needed at midnight. Marcus's relationship with customers was simple, respectful, professional, never talking more than necessary. Younger customers called him the night guy, not knowing that Marcus's silence had been earned through careful training. Discipline learned in places where careless talk could mean the difference between life and death. But older customers, the regulars who'd been coming for years, had noticed things about Marcus that were different from typical gas station workers. His hands never shook, despite being 38. The way he checked his surroundings when the door chimed. Not paranoid, just aware. These habits had been earned in places where awareness meant survival. And when planes flew overhead, Marcus would pause, just for a second. His hands would stop stocking Doritos. His eyes would track the sound. And for that brief moment, he wasn't a gas station attendant anymore. He was somewhere else entirely, remembering when that sound meant something very different, something that had to be earned every single day. Marcus Rivera hadn't always been a gas station attendant. The transition from 8 years with the 75th Ranger Regiment to civilian life was far more complex than most people could understand. But Marcus understood something civilian life rarely teaches. Excellence isn't about the arena. It's about the standards you bring to whatever you do. For 8 years, Marcus had served in the Rangers' most demanding operations, earning his discharge through deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq that tested everything he thought he knew about courage and sacrifice. 3 tours, 156 successful operations, and countless sleepless nights had taught him that some skills become part of who you are. They don't disappear when you change uniforms. Marcus had chosen the gas station work deliberately. Not because he needed employment. His military pension and disability compensation covered his basic needs. He was looking for work where he could apply skills earned through the highest stakes possible while serving people who needed something he could provide. The night shift provided the perfect working environment for Marcus's particular expertise. Few staff, multiple entry points, limited interaction with unknown individuals, and most importantly, an environment requiring rapid response if problems developed. Every night, Marcus was unconsciously conducting security assessments, habits learned through military training. Marcus notices everything, was how daytime manager Jessica Chen described him. Customer acting strange, equipment problem developing, weather changing before it shows up on radar, Marcus notices before anyone else. What Jessica attributed to community awareness was actually tactical surveillance skills, learned through Ranger training where gathering intelligence and maintaining area security were as important as marksmanship. Every night at 10:45 p.m., Marcus arrived at the QuikStop 15 minutes early for the shift change. But what looked like eager employee dedication was actually Marcus conducting a perimeter check, a habit learned through training where survival depended on noticing details others might miss. Inside the store, Marcus's tools were organized with military precision. Every product, every diagnostic device, every piece of equipment had its designated place. Work clean, everything in its place, he'd tell Kyle Morrison, the local high school kid who helped out afternoons. Kyle didn't know that Marcus's organizational system had been learned through Ranger operations, where finding the right tool in darkness, under fire, or in hostile territory could mean the difference difference between mission success and team casualties. "Mr. Marcus," Kyle would sometimes ask, "how do you always know what's wrong with a car just by listening to it?" Marcus would smile and tap his ear. "Experience, Kyle. When you've worked on enough engines, you learn to hear what they're telling you." What Marcus didn't mention was that his diagnostic abilities had been earned through maintaining mission-critical equipment where mechanical failure could compromise entire operations. He'd learned to detect subtle changes in engine performance, hydraulic systems, and electronic components because lives depended on equipment reliability. The QuikStop customers had their own stories about Marcus's almost supernatural abilities. Mrs. Dorothy Henderson swore he'd diagnosed her transmission problem just by watching her pull into the parking lot. Jim Miller claimed Marcus had predicted his alternator failure 3 days before it happened, just by the sound of his engine during a routine oil change. "It's like he has X-ray vision for car problems," was how Mayor Patricia Wells described him to newcomers. "Never seen anything like it." What the townspeople attributed to natural talent or years of experience was actually expertise earned through military training that had taught Marcus to process multiple information sources simultaneously: visual, auditory, tactile, and arrive at accurate diagnoses under pressure. During lunch breaks, Marcus read technical manuals to keep up to date with automotive technology. But between the repair manuals, there were other publications: security journals, threat assessment reports, technical documents that had nothing to do with the gas station business. The habits of continuous learning, of staying up to date with technology, had been honed over the course of a career that meant survival. Tuesday, October 15th, 2:47 a.m., the quietest hour of the night shift. Most people asleep, only long-haul truck drivers and shift workers moving through the main highway. Marcus was restocking the energy drink display near the register, doing routine maintenance tasks. That's when he saw them. 3 men wearing dark hooded sweatshirts despite the 78-degree weather. Their movement patterns were too coordinated for casual customers, too purposeful for browsing. The first kept his hands in his pockets while watching the customer service counter. The second was scanning security cameras and checking exit routes. The third moved toward the main aisle but maintained visual contact with his partners. Marcus recognized tactical coordination, multiple operatives with assigned roles and predetermined objectives. These weren't shoppers. They were a team executing a plan. Marcus's Ranger training revealed details others would miss: weight distribution suggesting concealed weapons, peripheral awareness indicating practice, stress markers showing they were operating beyond their comfort zones. Marcus reached for his radio, using code words practiced during safety drills. "Jessica, could you ask Dave to check camera feeds from the front entrance? Think we might have equipment issues near Station 1. But as Marcus watched the 3 men spread out with increasing confidence, he realized management response wouldn't be fast enough. The situation was developing into a coordinated assault on a soft target. At 2:51 p.m., the tall man in electronics drew a handgun. Marcus saw it from 40 feet away, a practiced motion confirming his assessment. This was organized crime with armed operators prepared for violence. Screams started immediately. Customers dropped, ran, or froze with panic that gets people killed. But Marcus wasn't panicking. He was calculating. Distance to primary threat, 40 feet. Civilian presence, 6 customers, including families with children. Weapon assessment. Handgun, probably 9mm. Operator assessment. Nervous, but committed. Finger on trigger. When Williamson County Sheriff's Department arrived at 3:07 a.m., they found a situation that had been resolved by precision response from an unidentified operator. The threats had been neutralized, the civilians were safe, and one gas station attendant was providing tactical briefings with the kind of professional competence that indicated extensive military training. "What's your background?" asked Sergeant Maria Gonzalez. Marcus looked at this law enforcement professional and made a decision about revelation. "Army Rangers, 8 years, 3 tours. How many confirmed operations?" 156 during deployment, Marcus replied, plus 3 more today, non-lethal. Sometimes the mission doesn't end when you change jobs. Within hours, word had spread through Williamson County. Marcus Rivera, the quiet night shift worker who'd been part of QuikStop's daily operations for 8 years, had revealed himself to be something none of his customers had suspected. But it was the customers' response that surprised Marcus most. Instead of fear or suspicion, they showed deeper respect for someone who'd been quietly protecting them while serving their community. "Marcus has been our guardian angel for 8 years, was how longtime customer Robert Martinez described him to local news. "We just didn't know how literally he meant it when he said he was watching over the community." QuikStop manager Jessica Rodriguez was more direct. "Marcus saved lives today, but he's been protecting this community every day for 8 years. We're lucky to have him." 6 months after the QuikStop incident, Marcus returned with the same commitment to maintaining safe, reliable service. His routine was exactly the same. Arrive at 10:45 p.m., conduct security assessment, prepare for another day of safe service. But everything else had changed. Customers now understood that their night shift worker was someone whose expertise had been earned through experiences most people couldn't imagine. The casual conversations continued, but with an undercurrent of respect for someone whose vigilance went far beyond convenience store operations. 3 years later, Marcus was still at the QuikStop, still maintaining the night shift to championship standards, still providing protection that most people never knew they needed. He'd become part of the community's legacy, a quiet professional whose presence made everyone safer, whether they understood it or not. Marcus Rivera's story was earned through 8 years of Army Ranger service, where 156 confirmed operations taught him that vigilance and precision are more than skills. They're responsibilities that continue long after the uniform comes off. His greatest achievement wasn't neutralizing 3 threats in 90 seconds. It was the daily choice to use skills earned through military service to protect a community that had become his mission. He never advertised his background because his work spoke for itself, never sought recognition because he'd already earned the only reward that mattered, the knowledge that his presence made other people safer. That's what earned service looks like. Expertise applied where it's needed, not where it's recognized. Standards maintained, not because someone is watching, but because those standards were earned through experiences that taught the true cost of shortcuts and compromises. So now I ask you, what expertise have you earned that could serve others in unexpected ways? What standards do you maintain because of experiences that taught you why quality matters? How are you using skills learned in one environment to make a difference in another? Share your story in the comments. Tell us about someone whose earned expertise made your life better, safer, or more secure, even if they never sought credit for their exceptional abilities. Because here at Earned Stories, we believe that the most valuable service often happens in the most ordinary settings, performed by people whose extraordinary skills were earned in places most of us will never see.
And sometimes the greatest heroes are the ones who choose to use their earned expertise protecting others, one shift at a time, one satisfied customer at a time, one moment of quiet vigilance at a time.
Thank you for watching. If this earned story moved you, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to remember that heroes often work in coveralls, serve without recognition, and find honor in doing ordinary jobs with extraordinary skill. We'll see you in the next story, and until then, remember, every service provider deserves respect, but some have earned their expertise through experiences that remind us why quality, precision, and reliability are more than just business practices. They're expressions of character, forged through service to something greater than ourselves.